Did you watch Echo?
I have not yet.
I watched
I've
all of it last
heard.
night.
All
What
right,
have you heard?
yes, I have heard that the good parts are really good, and then the bad parts are like really bad.
I'm gonna say the good parts are okay, and the bad parts are really bad.
Okay.
um, yeah. Here, okay, I'm not gonna. I'm not trying to talk about this too much, but essentially, uh, there's without spoiling anything, there's two stories here, right? In the
Uh-huh.
show. The first one is Maya finding out that Kingpin is alive, and her
Okay.
struggle with him, and him coming back into her life, and her kind of trying to figure out what to do with that whole situation. Um, that story I think is pretty good. The other story is her going back to her kind of original home where she kind of not grew up too much, but where she like kind of I don't know. She was pretty young when she left there, but she had spent some time growing up there, and kind of her reconnecting with her family and kind of the people who used to be in her life in that town. I feel bad shitting on that part because like that's also the part where you get a lot of like kind of an in-depth look at her culture and the kind of the Native American Choctaw, their whole deal in their culture. And I know like Marvel really partnered with them very heavily to help kind of make that more realized.
Yeah.
And like that stuff is interesting, and I'm it's good that it's in there. Genuinely, I think it's cool to have that representation in there. That being said, I think it's really boring. I just was really checked out for a lot of that. It also doesn't help that I don't think any of the side characters are really that interesting. I kind of liked one of them, but she's barely in it, and I don't think any of Maya's conflicts with any of those people in her life are really resolved. They kind of rush through that resolution, and I don't think it's satisfying. So that part I don't think is good. Whenever Fisk is on screen, I think the show gets way better. Like he's great in this, obviously,
Gotcha.
which is not a surprise. This show feels like it gets his character much more than Hawkeye did. He feels much closer to the Daredevil version of Fisk than he did in Hawkeye. I don't know if it's perfect, but it's much better. So yeah, I wanted to like this show. I did. I was excited for it, but I just yeah, I was really bored watching most of it. I think the action is generally pretty good. Uh, it does not feel as visceral or as real as the Netflix action did, uh, but it's not terrible. I think it's pretty solid. I think the choreography is not bad. I will say though, and I guess very minor spoilers, like very 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 minor spoilers. Uh, Daredevil is essentially not in the show.
Oh, big
He's
sad.
he's in one scene uh in the first episode, and he has maybe 2 minutes of screen time, and then he's gone for the rest of the show. So I was
Oh.
really bummed out by that. Obviously, like this is not a Daredevil show. I get that, but also like Matt is a big part of Maya's life in the comics, so it would have made sense to have him play a bigger part here. At least to even have him show up at the end and kind of recruit Maya to try and help him take down Fisk in the future. But that just doesn't happen. So that was a bit of a bummer. But Fisk is good,
Sad.
and yeah, so that's Echo. Also, last thing I will say on this, it did not need to be rated TVMA, which I'm like shocked I'm saying that, but this feels like Marvel was like, shit, people are tired of our normal thing. We got to try and change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
what can we do? And they're like, all right, let's CG some really kind of more gory stuff in like 2 scenes in this show, and then we'll just call it TVMA and really hype that up.
Mhm.
Because I saw Kevin Feige on the red carpet being like, "This is a truly TVMA, like this is a mature show," and it's just not. Like, yeah, there's more blood than usual in a couple of places. There's like 2 points where it gets a little bit gnarly, but that could very easily have been CG'd in late in the game. And I think also you could CG that back out, and not very much would be lost,
Yeah.
if anything. There's essentially no. I don't think there's really any adult content in here past what Marvel normally has. And like I don't even think they say shit once. Like there's no like language or anything. So I'm really kind of
Hmm.
surprised this ended up being like this is the TVMA thing. So that's my review of Echo. I didn't like it very much. I'm bummed to be saying that. I wanted to like it, but I didn't.
I think it struggles with only having 5 episodes. I think it's. I had a feeling it
It
was gonna
feels too
struggle.
long.
It feels too long,
It feels too
really.
long. Yeah, that's it. So
It,
actually, I'm glad you brought that up. This apparently was going to be 8 episodes initially, and they cut it down to 5. And I'm like, if they cut out 3 episodes, what the fuck did this look like before this? I was already so bored. I think they could easily cut out episode 2 and nothing would be lost. And I think they could maybe cut out about half of an episode somewhere else in there. I think this show should have been like 3 episodes. At which point it's like, why not just make it a movie? Because the episodes aren't that long anyway, either.
Yeah.
Genuinely, it took me 3.5 hours to watch the entirety of this show. I think you could have cut out easily an hour of that, I think. Maybe not an hour. I think you could have half an hour at least. 45 minutes to an hour I think you could have cut out. So, yeah, like, what the hell did this look like? That being said, then the resolution felt really rushed. I think the last episode needed like an extra 10 minutes. So I was like, what is happening with the pacing here? It's insane. Yeah, so also the first episode, about 10 minutes of it is just clips from Hawkeye as well, recapping what happened. So, yeah. Yeah. So that's my review of Echo. Yeah.
All right.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Earth's Mightiest Comics. This is a show where every episode we talk about the new comics that came out that week, and we give our thoughts and opinions on them. We let you know whether we think they were good or not. This week is going to be interesting. I think Sebastian and I have kind of a lot of differing opinions this week, actually, because I do not think there were very many good comics this week. But anyway, yeah, we'll get into all that. As always, there'll be time codes below if you want to skip around to any place in particular, and we're also going to spoil everything that we talk about in this episode. Also, just quick disclaimer. So I think I just got sick today. So if I sneeze out of nowhere, apologies. My voice may also sound a little bit different or weird or nasally. I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully it's all fine. Yeah, so if something sounds weird, if my voice does not sound normal, then that is why. So anyway, yeah, we're going to talk about this stuff this week. I think I'm going to throw to you to start.
Gotcha. Let's start with Cap.
Okay, I was wondering if this was what we're going to start with. This is Captain America number 5. It's written by J. Michael Straczynski, and the artist on this, I believe, is still Lan Medina, who started filling in last issue. Yeah, still Lan Medina. This is the one I made you read this week.
Yes.
You have notoriously been a hater on this series.
Yes.
I've also kind of been a hater on this series, but I'm still kind of fascinated by it for some reason.
Yes.
So, yeah, what do you think of it?
What can I say? I will say I didn't quite mind this one as some of the previous ones I've read.
Yeah, you liked this more than I did, I think.
I think so, but
yeah.
It wasn't even, I don't know, it's not that it wasn't interesting per se. It just like, it still was somewhat slow. Like, it was a lot of just talking, right? And at
in
one
the present,
point,
yes. I think the past stuff does more than that, but yeah, go ahead.
well, yeah. So the present, the present, yes. And in the present, I feel like at some point it's a bit jumpy with like what they do.
Yeah.
The past stuff was kind of, I felt like honestly like a bit rushed, if anything. At least towards the beginning, when the dude like stumbled in on like Steve, the guy that got beat up. I don't remember his name. Like that felt like a bit rushed, and then it like slowed down. Yeah, I guess. So in this one, I guess we know the demon like name, or at least Steve learns it.
Yeah, I think we've known for like an issue or two now. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve learns the demon, like who the demon is. They don't really have a plan to stop him because Doctor Strange is like, he can't be stopped, but I'll try to think of something. And then he basically goes to like this, what is it, like a rally?
Yeah, it's a peace rally.
Yeah. And, you know, the demon set up some traps there. And yeah, at the very end, the demon traps a bunch of people inside, and Steve is also inside. And he's basically like, one of us is not leaving here alive. And he's like, Steve's like, that's fine with me. That was the present. The past was more Nazi stuff. It was Baron Strucker and Baron Zemo. They were planting a bomb in a car to kill a bunch of Nazis and blame it on the U.S., I believe. I read that right.
Yeah, I don't even think it's to blame it on the U.S. It's to cause sympathy from the U.S. because of this like mass their logic here was if there's a bunch of Nazis in there, like 10,000 Nazis, and they all die, like it'll gain sympathy for the Nazi cause from the U.S. And then they will be able to like secure the U.S.'s involvement and win World War II. Is essentially, I think that's the logic they were going.
Well, it was like essentially like it was like essentially Hydra logic. You kill a bunch, more will grow in its place. So it was like.
Here's the thing: I don't know if this is true, but I think that is a real rally that happened. Hang on, I'm gonna look this up really quickly. But I think I saw people talking about that was like a real thing that happened. So hang on, let me just check. Okay, yeah, that rally was real.
Okay,
but it did not blow up.
Okay, yeah, and then I guess is it? It's Von Strucker that chases the past Steve, right?
I don't know. Oh yes, he tries to shoot him in a telephone booth. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Steve meets up with gang members, and then there's a brawl.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. I have now kind of switched my opinion on this series a little bit, and that I think actually the stuff in the past is better. I don't know if I like it as much, but I think it's better written at the very least. Like that stuff feels more tightly plotted and paced, and also I feel like Straczynski has a better like feel for Cap's voice in the past than he does in the present. I think the present stuff is getting kind of cluttered, not even cluttered, but just like kind of generic demon stuff. Whereas I think it started out quite interesting because we were like, what is this? Why is this happening? Like now that I think we kind of know what's going on, it's gotten less interesting. And I don't think the emissary has been a huge, like significant presence in the past couple issues to the point where I feel like he's lost some of his intrigue and just kind of general significance. And so I think as a result of that, I think the stuff in the past is written better. I don't know if I like it more, but I think what it comes down to is the stuff in the past I think is written better. I'm not as interested in the story that it is telling. It's just not clicking with me. I think it's kind of like, yeah, it feels to me like Straczynski did not want to write a Captain America book. It feels like he wanted to write a Steve Rogers origin story in the 1930s. Not even a Captain America origin, a Steve Rogers origin. So Steve does not have the powers in any of the flashback stuff.
No.
So that's what it feels like to me. I think that stuff is written better, but I just am less interested in it.
I'm disinterested in both of them, to be honest. But I still think I'm still gonna stick with the fact that I'm more interested, if anything, in the present still, simply because that's in the end this is where it's all happening. And like I feel like in the past, like we're going back to the past just to get some like past tense on exactly why, the demons kind of targeting, I feel like, Captain America and stuff, and like what exactly his ties are to the Nazis. But it's like
even
Captain
then,
America.
that's
He's always fought
Nazis.
It's like he always fights Nazis. So it's like, do we really need the past stuff? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's also like Asmodee has shown up maybe twice in the past, and it's been in very minor roles. So I think you probably should have cut that without having lost much. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's just like, I think in the end, the present is all that matters. And like, if anything, if I literally didn't read anything from the past, I still could understand his story entirely.
Well, the past stuff takes up over half the issue this time. So
I know.
I think at the very least, right? I think this issue is better than the last one because the stuff in the past at least is advancing that plot. Like it's not really necessarily advancing the present day plot too much, but it's advancing that past plot. Last time it was just like Steve overworks himself and meets a new doctor who's helping him in the building, and that's kind of it. Like it didn't really do anything. Mm-hmm. It was just character building with characters that we probably won't see very much of because it's in the past. And I don't know how long Strack is planning to keep this past stuff as part of the book, but I can't imagine. My guess is that it'll wrap up after this first arc, but I don't know. Maybe not. So maybe those characters will be around for a while. But regardless, like I don't have any connection to those characters right now, so that character building didn't really work for me. This, at least, it felt like it was pushing the plot forward, however slight. And actually, it did feel like it was pushing the plot forward in a meaningful and significant way in the past. But it just doesn't really feel like it's connecting too much to the present day stuff. I don't know. I have gone back and forth with my rating on this one. I had it at a 5 initially, and then I dropped it to a 4 right before recording, and now I have it back at a 5. I'm going to put it at a 5 for right now. I don't think it's terrible. It's fine, but I was kind of bored with it. it has crossed the thought has crossed my mind that maybe I should drop this one. I'm not going to yet. I'm gonna give it a couple more issues. So the next issue is the end of the arc, and then the second arc sounds more interesting.
Yeah.
And we'll finally have a Captain America action sequence again next issue. It looks like it'll be the second one in 6 issues.
God damn.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my score.
I would have this as a 5, but I do think it is better than the last one. So it's at a 6, but it's a very low 6. It's like it's barely there.
Okay, well, I will go and do this one now. I'm going to talk about Vengeance of the Moon Knight #1. This is written by Jed MacKay. The artist is Alessandro Capuccio. So, like, it's a new book, right? It's relaunched. It's Vengeance of the Moon Knight now instead of just Moon Knight. But, like, this is the same story. It really feels like Moon Knight #31. I think that works, though. What I was hoping for from this issue, and what I thought it probably would be, is most of the issue is seeing how like the Midnight Mission is dealing now that Mark is dead, kind of them doing a mission, kind of just seeing their lives and where they're at now that Mark is gone, and then ending with the reveal of the new Moon Knight in costume, suiting up. We don't know who the new Moon Knight is still. I mean, it's being billed as kind of a mystery. Although there are some very big hints that as to who it is, which I'll get into. But yeah, that is essentially what happens. We see the immediate aftermath of Mark's death. We get a nice scene where Ben Grimm comes and helps perform like Jewish kind of funeral rites because Mark was Jewish and Ben is also Jewish. And then we see like a lot of the other heroes kind of picking up the slack now that Mark is gone, and we do see how the Midnight Mission is operating without him. And then after a bit of that, like that's what most of the issue is, and then it wraps up with 8-Ball being attacked in the street by the new Moon Knight, and he gets to the Midnight Mission. And that last page, we see the new Moon Knight, the full suit revealed for the first time, and he's essentially like, "Why are there vampires in my Midnight Mission? Everybody get out!" Essentially, and that's how the issue ends. So it's not any of the Midnight Mission who are the new Moon Knight. There's no way. It just does not make any sense because they are all there when the new Moon Knight shows up. So it cannot be any of them unless there's some weird like switcheroo thing. So it's not Soldier, it's not Reese, it's not 8-Ball, it's not Hunter's Moon, it's not any of those guys. I think it seems like the theory that I have recently kind of started saying that this new Moon Knight is still Mark, that it's looking like that's kind of the case actually. So because the way they're talking about it, there's a point where like right before the reveal of the new Moon Knight, Reese is talking to Dr. Sturman, who has been Mark's psychiatrist for the entirety of the last run. And so Reese is essentially saying, like, I'm afraid. And Sturman is like, what, you're afraid that Mark won't come back? And she's like, no, I'm afraid that he already has, but that he's come back wrong. And then we cut to the new Moon Knight. That's a pretty big hint. It could be a fake out.
That's true.
The way that the summaries and stuff have been marketing this, it makes it sound like it's a new character. But like it seems like it's probably Mark, but like Khonshu is in control, or some other alter, like some new alter has manifested or something. That's what I think. Or the other option is because Fists of Khonshu are able to come back from the dead. Yes. But the way it's been described is that every time they do that, a little piece of them is gone, essentially. Like they lose a piece of themselves. So if they die enough times, they are essentially just like not that person anymore. They're just this like, this figure that has just kind of lost their mind and is just dedicated to violence in the name of Khonshu. So Mark should not be at that point yet, but that's kind of what I'm thinking is kind of more likely. What is strange about that is that supposedly is only supposed to happen when Khonshu is operational. He's not in play right now. And people bring that up in this issue. They're like, he's not supposed to be able to resurrect right now. Like, Khonshu is out of commission. But so I think that's probably what's happening is either like he's been taken over by Khonshu or something, or he has just kind of, or maybe like Khonshu was able to bring him back, but because Khonshu is not really fully in play, like he wasn't able to bring him back enough of Mark, and so it's just this kind of more angry version of him. So we'll see. I don't expect we will I don't think we'll get the full reveal on who the new Moon Knight is for a while, but I like this issue quite a lot. I think I'm glad that Alessandro Capuccio is still on art. It looks great. The art's great. Because of how this, because of how this issue is structured, it is very much kind of like a reset issue where it's like, okay, just kind of take a breather, like where's everybody at, and then get ready for the next thing. And as a result of that, I don't think it's, it doesn't have the kind of punch wow factor kind of thing. But it's still very good. I give it an 8. I liked it a lot. This was very nearly my pick of the week. It didn't quite get there, but I think it was very good. Yeah.
All right. I guess we will go on to the next one, which is Birds of Prey.
Okay, I think we also have a difference of opinion on this one.
A small one.
This is Birds of Prey number 5. It's written by Kelly Thompson. New artist on this one, by the name of Aris Dane. I didn't really like this one that much.
Okay, but was it because of the art or was it the story?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think I still prefer the old art simply because this one, it's just got that new comic feel to it, you know? Like it looks the same as like every new comic that's been coming out that comes out.
Don't agree, but yeah,
it's like it's got like the same like kind of like just art stylish, like
it's
that,
got the glossy feel, but
yes,
the art the art
that's
I don't
what I meant.
Is
that glossy feel. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Whereas the last one, you know, had that still that like older comic feel, you know,
like
more
like kind of a newsprint 4-color kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. And so, like, while I don't mind the glossy, that old one, it just like it felt like refreshing in a sense.
Here's the thing. I think I just don't like the art style in this one. At first, I thought it was kind of refreshing, but I think that was mostly just because I could tell what was happening. It's much easier to follow the art in this one, because the coloring is just much more clear.
Yes.
Because that's the thing. I think I liked the pencils for the previous 4 issues. It's just the coloring is whack. I just can't tell what's happening.
Yeah.
And even like, because it's the same team as for the past 4 issues on the cover of this issue, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, God, it's just I don't get it. But here I don't think the artwork. While the coloring is more coherent, I don't think it. I don't like it. It feels like weird and dark and like too moody, and it just wasn't working for me. So I didn't really enjoy the art that much. And then the story I just think was less interesting than it has been previously. I mean, you know, because we get more of a look at the villain, Megara.
Yeah.
But like, it's a weirdly like sassy. It feels like too internet for me. You know what I'm saying? Like the way
I was gonna say the exact same
thing.
Like they like played this up to be like this super like honestly like world ending like thing, like not even Wonder Woman could like do anything about. And then we get into like the heart of it and stuff, and it's just like she's like super chill for some reason. She's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna like I'm taking over your body, you know, you don't really have a choice, even though you think you do, and you keep saying you're not. I'm not. You know, I'm gonna do it. It's like what? Okay.
Yeah. And it keeps being like, oh, because your life is so much better just taking another nap. And it's like, what's happening? Like, the menace of this dude is completely gone. So that kind of bothered me. I thought it became much less interesting as a result of that. And a lot of the issue is spent on that. And there's also, like, I don't know, there's, what are the rest of the team even doing? I don't fucking know. Like, Zealot kills a bunch of, or, like, decapitates a bunch of Amazonians. That was kind of cool, I guess. Or like she doesn't decapitate them, she de-limbs them, I should say. But like that was all right, but I don't even know what happens other than that. Like it just was so, I don't know, I was just really not engaged by this one.
Yeah, it was let me think. It was she de-limbed a bunch of Amazons, like you said, and then I guess like right, because it was Barda, Harley, Cassandra, and Dinah, and where Sin got taken, right?
Was it? I thought that was just Dinah.
No. They were all there, but then Cassandra went back to find Zealot because Dinah told her to find the future lady, right? And then that's when she came across Zealot, and I could have sworn that Zealot was like in a pool of her own blood on the floor, but like I never saw her got injured when she fought the Amazons. Was she just like, I don't understand if she was just taking a nap or what, but Cassandra was just like, yo,
yeah,
get
taking
up.
A nap in the blood of the Amazons, yeah.
Like literally, she was just like laying on the ground. And then Cassandra was like, yo, get up. And then that's when the future lady came up. And that's when we saw one woman possessed by Megara. And then, you know, then Barda and Harley shoved Dinah into, well, you know, where Sin was and whatever. And what else? Yeah, and then at the end of it, it's just they were outside whilst Dinah and Sin were inside, and it was pretty much where they have always been, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think
I
this is
don't.
very good.
I don't. All right. I don't mind the art style. I think if you're gonna change art, it can't be such a drastic change because
That
it
is part of the
changed.
problem, I think. Yeah.
It is so drastically different. Like
Yeah.
usually when we see artists change, it's just like minor things. But this was just like it was a 180
Yeah. I mean, I know
entirely.
a lot of
And
the times, like, you don't even notice. I'm paying attention to the names, but I know a lot of times you've been
yeah,
like, oh, there's a different artist. I didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah. Like I said, I think I still prefer the old one. It's changed so much. And
Yeah.
story wise, I think it's not less interesting in my opinion. It's just I found it weird how they treated Meg in this issue. That was my only problem with the story is they just downplayed her so much this issue
Yeah.
for like no reason. I don't understand. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty much it. I give this, I'm gonna give it a 6. I'm
Yeah. I have
shutting
it at
it
a
down.
5. I think ultimately this series has been. I mentioned in our top 10 list, I think this series has been inconsistent, and I think that much more after this issue. The
Mhm.
highs of the series are fantastic, but yeah, this art has been very hit or miss for me, and I think if I'm feeling this way going into arc 2, like if I'm reading arc 2, because I will start arc 2 at least.
Mhm.
If I'm feeling this way in the middle of arc 2, I will maybe drop the series because which is a bummer. I want to like this a lot. Like I loved issue 3, but it's very up and down right now, and I needed to be a little bit more consistent if I'm going to keep buying it. So yeah, five out of 10 for me. Well, we can just keep on going down the alphabet here. We can talk about Blue Beetle.
All right.
This is Blue Beetle number 5. It is written by Josh Trujillo, and the artist is Adrian Gutierrez. This is another one that I think you liked more than I did. This feels like this kind of feels this felt fillery to me. I don't know.
Thinking back on it, it is 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
because it's kind of just everybody bracing for the fight with Blood Scarab. You did a little bit of back and forth between Jaime and Victoria, where they're kind of trying to figure out how to take down this thing. And there is like when the Blood Scarab is on the page, I still am pretty fully engaged. There's a point where he's just standing in like a circle of a bunch of corpses in the middle of like a soccer stadium, and then he like turns them all into these like Blood Scarab creature things, and that's cool. Like I think Blood Scarab is a cool and imposing villain. I'm into that. But the actual like start of the fight, which kind of does start here, is pretty underwhelming. I think it's not that engaging, and not it doesn't feel like a lot happens in that. And like last issue we had that really great character building scene between Starfire and Jaime. We don't really have anything like that in here. I also think it's funny. Last week we were talking about how many flashes there are. This issue made me realize, god damn, there's a lot of fucking Beetles.
Yes.
There's a shit ton of these guys.
Well, okay, no, like flashes, they literally just appear. Like this one has been pretty set throughout. Like it's always been these 3, and then the red one showed up, right?
Who's the other two? I really have not been paying attention to any of them besides
The green
Jaime.
and the orange one, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
those
think
guys
they're
popped
supposed
up,
to
and I was
be.
like, have they been in the rest of the series? I don't
They were
remember these
literally in
guys
the
at all.
first one.
Okay, I don't remember them like hardly at all.
Oh wow, damn.
Yeah. So I ultimately I came away from this thinking it was pretty middle of the road. I was not a huge fan of this one. Like I'm still gonna read the next one. And the art I think is actually growing on me more and more as it goes on. I think the art looks good. The color saturation, just like it all really pops, and I think that works really well.
No, yeah, it's like you said, it was definitely like a filler episode, Even like the way it ended last issue, I was like, ooh, super intrigued. But like
Yeah.
even this one, like them talking, it just felt it didn't interest me as much as how it ended.
It kind of
And
also ends the same way that the last one did. Because the last one, Jaime's like, I'm gonna have to kill him, and now this one he's like, no, it's just me. I have to fight him. It's my destiny. And it's like, it felt like a similar kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. I guess so. I can see that one, but like, I don't know. I guess like the thing with the conversation between Jaime and Victoria that interested me most is that she had a blue lantern ring,
Oh, right.
power battery. I was like, oh, I don't know how she got that, but that's there. And yeah, it was. Besides that, yeah, like you said, filler. It was just, oh God, what was her name? Tricks, bag of tricks, lady.
Yeah, I don't know who that character is.
Gimmicks, I guess, is what her name is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, she I guess came up with she had a prophecy or a vision or something.
Everybody has a fucking prophecy in this series, by the way.
Honestly. And yeah, so they teamed up with Starfire, like they being the Beatles, the other two Beatles, Uli and Fade Away, which
Who also like who is that? I don't
who is
know.
honestly
Yeah.
has he been in this fucking
I don't
thing,
know.
or did he just show up? I don't know. Yeah, I really don't have a lot. I'm like reaching for words here.
No, I don't either. This is just it's like this to me
Yeesh.
is like the most recent the two most recent issues of Daredevil is the closest equivalent. It's fine and not really much happens. This is I think that, to be fair, this feels like it has more of a vision. This feels like the art feels more kind of engaged. Like it feels kind of generally more put together than Daredevil does, I think. But I gave this a 6, which is around where I gave those 2 issues. That's why I'm saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that 6 there.
That being said, I will probably buy every issue of this series because my cousin really loves Blue Beetle, so I will probably just end up buying these and then handing them down to her when I'm done with them.
Let's do Shazam. Let's do Shazam.
Okay, this is Shazam number 7, written by Mark Waid. There is a different artist on this. I think Dan Mora might be off the book. Because the next 2 issues are also a different artist. I don't know if Dan Mora is coming back. The fill-in artist here is Goran Sudzuka, which I think he does a good job, actually. I like the art in this still. It's not as good as Dan Mora's art, but that is a essentially impossible bar to clear. So,
this is one that I didn't notice an artist change.
Yeah. This actually feels closer to, I think, not quite. This isn't quite equivalent, but I think this skews closer to like a Chris Samney kind of feel in the art. Who is someone I didn't appreciate as an artist for a while, but now I do quite like. So I think this series is still pretty good. It's fucking weird though, which I kind of enjoy.
Yeah, it's just getting weirder. It's just like it's off the rails at this point.
This one is so weird. There's a point where there's a caption box that says like something like, "Yeah, I promise these dinosaur auditors make sense if you've read the run, but yeah, if you're new, this series has gone off the rails." Like that's a direct quote. Yeah, but it's like it's fun weird though, right? It's not like boring weird or like why are they this weird? Like it's fun. I think the difference here, right, is that this is a character that you can be weird and goofy with. That kind of tone works for Shazam, whereas it doesn't work for something like Batman, for instance, which is, I think that's the problem I had with Batman and Robin, is that tonally it feels kind of like this. Not as strange, obviously, but like it feels kind of a similar kind of thing. And I don't think it works for that, whereas I think it does work for this character. I think the cover's a little bit misleading. Shazam and Black Adam do fight in here, but it's not like a huge throwdown, and it's not the main point of the issue, I would say. The main point of the issue is that the dinosaurs come back, and they're not happy about the fact that Mr. Dinosaur has become like the maid of the Batson family, and is just like cleaning and organizing the like Hall of Eternity or whatever it's called. And then Black Adam is pissed that they were invading Kahndaq, and then he comes down and is like, "We're gonna throw hands," and then they destroy the Batson family house in the wake of their fight, which is a problem because they needed to sell that house so they could have just enough money to buy a new house that is very nice and everything, and it's like plenty of space and all that. So that's kind of the issue. I mean, yeah, I generally liked it. The weird stuff, it's fun. I'm gonna have to see how this develops going forward, though, because a big part of why I was getting this was the Mark Waid Dan Mora combo. And if Dan Mora's not on art going forward, I may end up dropping it because I like this series, but it's been one of those ones where it's like I have fun reading it every month, but it's also, if I cut it, I don't think I would really mind that much. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna see. I'm gonna give it a couple more issues because I do think it's good. I think it's fun. But I am gonna kind of keep an eye on how it develops, because I may end up dropping it if I'm still just kind of feeling like it's pretty good but not great. Then I don't know how long I'm gonna keep going with this series in that case.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I know Black Adam is like a super intense character, right? Like he's got very big tunnel vision, like Kahndaq only, that's it, right? And so when the dinosaurs didn't even like they were close to Earth. I don't even know if they like entered the atmosphere. At least it didn't look like that from the drawing.
I think they were. I think they were in Kondak airspace. I'm not entirely sure. But...
And one of the things I swear it looked like they were still in space, but yeah. So they were like, I guess like yeah, just whatever in the atmosphere above Kondak, and Black Adam just goes up there. It's just like, or last issue, he went up there and was just like, "You're invading Kondak," and the dinosaurs are like, "Yo, I don't even know who you is. Back off! I'm just auditing people over here." And so they launch a paper missile that Black Adam thought was a real missile, and it exploded into a bunch of paper, and I guess is drowning Kondak in paper now, and that pissed him off a lot. And so now he's after the auditors, and Billy's just like, you know what, like, let's calm down, man. We can just talk. That's it. And nope, that's not an option. And so that's why they fight. And that's like, I feel like, I don't know, pretty dumb fight, but whatever.
I also don't think the fight was that good.
No, it wasn't that good. It was like a baby fight, bro. Like compared for them two, it was like a baby fight. It really was just like slapping each other around. Like that was it. Yeah,
and your point about it being kind of a dumb reason to fight, I did kind of feel that as well. I'm sure you remember this, Sebastian, but when we did our old show, where it's about like very old comics, we didn't get into this too much because Sebastian and I didn't get that far, but a big staple of comics of that era was the misunderstanding fight, where two characters would just get into a room and they would fight over something that was really small and like could have been fixed by like a Post-it note. If they had just like tried to explain a single thing, there would have been no reason to fight. This wasn't quite that, but I feel like this kind of ranged in that misunderstanding fight territory, which also kind of did diminish my liking for this issue a little bit. Not a huge amount, but that kind of, I don't know. I hate misunderstanding fights. I've seen so goddamn many of those in old comics that it just really bothers me when I see them. So yeah.
Well, yeah. So it ventures towards that misunderstanding fight, but like I think it works simply because of Black Adam's character and how he works and how he's literally just like tunnel visioned so hard. Like that's the only reason why while I do say it was a dumb fight, it just works with his character specifically because that's just like who he is essentially. But yeah, besides that, I didn't notice the art difference. I don't know if you did, but you look into
I did. Yeah, I definitely did. I pay attention to that stuff. I knew beforehand also that Dan Mora was not the artist on this one. But Dan Mora for me is a pretty distinct artist where it just looks so good and I can recognize the style pretty easily. So when it's not that, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that. I like the art though. I think it was pretty good.
Yeah. I still think it looks pretty good. And so I think, I gave this a 7. Yeah.
I also gave this a 7. I want to like this more. I do. Like, and it's fun. I do like it. Zeus turned into a duck last issue, and I mean, who doesn't love that?
That is true, yes.
Anyway, I will move on to the next issue. We're going to talk about, God, what else do we have left? Is it just Batman?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
What else? Oh, right. Okay. Fine, we'll talk about Thanos. I forgot because it's not on my poll list. I need to hang on. Let me pull it up on yours. Okay, this is Thanos number 2. This is written by Christopher Cantwell. It is drawn by Luca Pizzari. I know your score on this. What the hell are you thinking?
I will tell you, it is raised by a star. Honestly, probably by like more than a star for a specific reason, and I will tell you the reason when I am talking about the issue. But yes, it is not truly this high, but it is.
Listen, I don't think this is actually as bad as the first issue.
I don't think so either. I didn't.
Which is interesting because I think I gave the first issue a higher score than this. I stand by that, but I think this one's better. I know that makes no sense, but just bear with me. For me, I think okay. Here's why I rated this lower than the first issue.
Okay.
I think this comic is better than the first issue, but I think it is a much worse Thanos comic than the first issue was.
I think Thanos wasn't in the first issue.
Yes, because I think Thanos' presence here is too fucking goofy. He's like a weird slapstick cartoon character at points. He like hijacks a pickup truck and he's like, "Oh, this is too small for me. Let me rip off the roof." And then he's like a big Thanos just driving this pickup truck down the road. Like, what the fuck is Why is this what Thanos has been turned into in this series? He's supposed to be imposing. This is supposed to be like, what the fuck is this? It's like a weird, goofy, like, it's just, I don't understand. Is that why you gave us an 8?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I thought it was fucking hilarious just seeing him in the fucking pickup truck.
Listen, it is kind of funny. It's kind of funny, sure. But, like, it's not Thanos. This is like
no,
maybe,
it's definitely not. Like I said,
he would do that, right?
Yeah.
The way it's written, the writer is selling this in a way that makes it feel too goofy, I think. So then it just doesn't feel imposing, right? Like, yeah, the first issue he was barely in it, but he felt closer to Thanos as a character, like, that we have kind of, been used to. And, I understand, like, yeah, of course, like, different interpretations of characters are allowed to exist. Obviously, that's totally fine. And I agree with that, and I want to see different interpretations of characters. If it's just the same thing over and over again, who cares, right? We've already seen that. But I just don't think this sort of interpretation works with Thanos. The other problem I have is that everybody seems, like, all the Illuminati, they do not seem to be taking this seriously in the slightest. They're all, like, joking and goofing around with each other. Like, yes, I get that Tony is on the team and that's kind of his whole deal. But, like, Blue Marvel, why is he quipping? Reed, why is Reed quipping? I know Strange can kind of get quippy, but, like, when Thanos is there, these guys should, like, focus the fuck up and, like, go to work. Because there's a weird point at the start where they're all, like, they're all, like, they're like, we need to call the Hulk. And they're all getting into this argument, like, it's like a weird, like, rom-com scene where they're like, well, it's like, it feels like something out of Justice League 2017, the Joss Whedon version. Where I don't want to call him. You call him. He doesn't like me. And then Strange is like, well, he's angry at me too. I don't think he doesn't want to join up with me either. I don't know if I should be. It's just like, shut up. Thanos is in Fresno, which has been Sokovia, as we have discussed.
Yes.
Get your shit together, guys. This is a planet-ending threat. You guys need to focus up and, like, stop making these weird... It just feels like totally all over the place. And so as a Thanos comic, I think this fails. As a comic, yes, it's less boring at the very least, right? Like, there's stuff happening. They're doing a big Thanos fight. Fine, whatever. But, like, it just doesn't feel like Thanos. So, yeah, I was just kind of baffled by how weird and goofy this book was.
Yes, yeah. All right, so, well, I do agree with you that it is very goofy, and it does not come off as a Thanos book. I think, like, right, when he started actually fighting the Illuminati, or at least some of them, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and then eventually the Hulk showed up, so it was them three for the most part. He was, like, essentially wiping the floor with them like Thanos does, like, they really, at least for Iron Man and Strange, he kind of was. Like, Hulk, he, like, Hulk got a couple good licks in here and there, but, like, in the end, like, Hulk really still didn't stop him in that sense. And, eventually when Emma Frost showed up, she stopped the Thanos pickup truck, and,
oh my god.
Now that I'm thinking about it, she completely crushed the front of that car. How did he just get back in it at the end? That just dawned on me.
Because this comic makes no fucking sense.
She almost had him, and he swatted her away at the end. Nobody else went up, like, Reed nor Blue Marvel when I actually faced him. But yeah, I don't. I think it's. Oh man, it's so like it's goofy. It's just so goofy.
It's fucking weird.
Just oh my god, just for me, I literally I laughed out loud when I saw fucking Thanos just.
I was reading this at work, so I was kind of like, it felt like I was in a fever dream because I was actively like, we're pretty slow at my job right now, but I was kind of like reading a page, it kind of in between interactions with customers because there's a lot of downtime there, so I just had the comic open. And I was just like, am I fucking high? What is happening? Am I just like really, is this like my customer brain's just making me like hallucinate this? What is going on? So yeah.
Yeah, that him in that pickup truck. And then eventually when he gets, what's her name? Is it, they only have it listed as Death here. Yeah. But I was trying to think of what they're calling her.
She is Death. Yeah. I mean, some people call her Marie, but that's not
her
actual
Marie. Yeah. Something like that.
I think it might be Roberta.
But I think it was something with R. Yeah, but I'll just call her Death. But when Death like gets in the pickup truck with him, like she's so small compared to him. That's just another just super weird looking, like super weirdly drawn.
Yeah.
And at the end of this one, we finally get the confirmation that like yes, she is Death. He
Mhm.
specifically says that, and I guess
Yep.
she lost her memories or something like that. We don't know exactly what happened there, but
I do. I actually do know
you
what
do.
happened. Yeah, because the summary for issue number 3 spoils it.
Ah, okay. Well, I didn't read
Yeah.
that yet, so. But yeah, I gave this. All right. Truthfully, for me, this is like a 6. I gave it an 8 for the Thanos pickup truck, baby. Yes, sir.
Okay. At least I know it was a meme one. Because I
It
saw this
was.
before we started recording. I was like, how in the hell did he give this an 8 out of 10? What the fuck did he read to make him do that? I give it a 5. I think it's not very good. To be fair though, like I prefer this over like the Century. Like it's I don't think it's good, but it's fucking weird, and I kind of respect that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah. So let's last one here. Batman.
okay, Batman number 141, written by Chip Zdarsky. The artist is Jorge Jimenez, and then there's a backup story which still written by Chip Zdarsky, but the artist is Dustin Nguyen. This is, I think, my pick of the week. It's close between this and Moon Knight, but I think this
For
does make it
me,
out.
for me, this would be mine simply because there's nothing else that really held a candle to this one.
So this says it's the conclusion of Mind Bomb. I don't know if it 100% is. Like, we'll definitely be seeing Failsafe and Zur-En-Ah back after this. But what I really like about this, because I do think this is one of the best issues for a while of this series, I think it's been in the past too, is it is Batman up against not just one, but 2 enemies of his that are both like vastly superior to him right now. Like in terms of his capabilities, like he is on the back foot the entire time. These guys are so much more like they have the upper hand with both Zur and Failsafe combined into one. Now, I mentioned last issue, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, that I was concerned that this confrontation would just essentially go the same way that the first one with Failsafe did. Only now it's just like Zur is in his body.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of did happen. But at the same time, I liked the Failsafe and Zur stories both on their own. So, like, I didn't really mind. And it did kind of change the scenery a little bit. They're kind of, having this, like, cat and mouse game through the woods. And they're kind of trying to outthink each other and outsmart each other. I think that kind of works here because this time, like, he's fighting Failsafe's body, which is just obviously far physically superior to Bruce.
Yes.
But he also cannot really outsmart Failsafe this time because he's kind of possessed by Bruce himself, right? Like Zur is essentially just Bruce, but if Bruce was evil. Because like Bruce and Zur's goals still align, it's just their methods change, right? So I think that fight and that kind of chase they had was very good, and that was most of the issue. So as a result, I like the issue quite a lot. And it doesn't hurt that the art is spectacular, as always with Jorge Jimenez. He's a great artist. Looks great. And then, Bruce does lose at the end of this. Mm-hmm. And he gets thrown into a room with the Joker as well, who's not dead. He's in a net brace, but he's still okay after having his bat broken or whatever. He's essentially like, yo, next issue, we're going to talk about my origin. Joker's year 0 or whatever, or year 1, whatever it's called.
Year 1, yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of the main story. And the backup is the multiverse of Zur-En-Ahs confronting each other and essentially being like, I should be in charge, no, I should be in charge. And then they have a bit of a fight, and that's kind of that. So I think this is probably the best issue of this since the Gotham War times. Obviously, like, this story is better than Gotham War as a whole. Yes. I think the Gotham War times were better. So I don't know if I have too much to say on this one, though. I did like it quite a bit. But I do think, the fight was good, but I do think ultimately it did kind of fall into the pitfall of what is it really doing to differentiate itself from those previous arcs that it has already kind of done. So, and that's kind of why I ended up liking it, but not being quite as high on it as maybe I would have otherwise.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to slightly disagree with you in the fact that it's the same fight as, Batman versus Failsafe. Slightly simply because of the fact that, obviously Zur is in Failsafe's body, and that's where I think it differed. Like, well, yes, like, the action sequences were essentially the same. I think in the end, when it was just failsafe, I feel like he was hitting Bruce harder. You know, I feel like Zur in a way was pulling punches, in the fact because right, like when we saw failsafe just absolutely wail on Bruce, like Bruce couldn't even move at the end of it. Like he was like basically out. Like Superman like saved him like literally last minute. Like I'm here. So someone come pick Bruce up while I distract failsafe. This one, you know, Zur-En-Aw in failsafe, you know, he also wailed on Bruce, but Bruce was still able to move, in a sense, like still able to get a couple like more like the weird like sword slashes in there, you know. And so like that was like really the only part that I would say like differed is the fact that like in a sense like Zur is pulled failsafe's punches and stuff like that, and also Zur it's himself is like smarter obviously because it's just Bruce, whereas for failsafe it was just a computer like designed to like think like Bruce, whereas Zur is actually Bruce. So that part where like Batman ran back to the warehouse and it was just failsafe, like looking over at Gotham. I think if it were actually failsafe, he would have continued to Gotham. He wouldn't have turned back like Zur did.
I like that's
And
all well and good. I think and you know, to your point about him pulling punches, maybe because he did offer Bruce a chance to retire as well.
yes, yes,
But I think I kind of more interpreted that as Zur just not entirely being comfortable in Failsafe's body yet, and that kind of being more what that was.
Okay.
Because he had pretty much just transferred in.
That is true. That is true. That could, yeah, yeah.
With that in mind, though, I think, like, yes, like, I know Zur and Failsafe are different, but I think the stuff they were saying functionally was kind of the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think their conversations were quite similar. So, and I think that ultimately is what made me think, like, oh, this is feeling pretty similar to the last one. I think that's what kind of did it more than the action sequence itself, even. And as I said, I do think the action sequence was kind of, I don't really want to say derivative because it's the same writer, but you know, kind of the same thing. Yeah, similar.
Yeah,
similar
yeah,
feel,
yeah.
I think, yeah.
I mean, I think it's just because like because failsafe happened before. That was right after Gotham War, right?
No, that was like
That was before.
yeah, that was quite a bit before.
Yeah. See, I'm not remembering why exactly failsafe activated. I'm trying to remember. Like, was he trying to
Failsafe
just
was
like
the first arc of this
yeah,
run.
yeah. And I'm trying to remember. Was he trying to kill Bruce or just?
I think
That's the
so.
part I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
you read that more recently than I did, dude. You're asking the
Yeah, I
wrong
mean
person.
that's fair. That's true. So that's like the thing that I'm forgetting is if he was just trying to take him out of commission or if he was just trying to kill him entirely. I don't remember. I know failsafe activated because it felt like Bruce like because it was supposed to be like a failsafe for when Batman went too far.
But then I think Zur activated it prematurely, right?
I don't even know because in the end wasn't it like not Bruce that did that and it was like he was like framed. Oh,
I don't know. I don't remember why. I don't remember why Zur got unleashed in the first place.
Well, not even Zur failsafe.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Failsafe.
Well, yeah. Anyway, because Zur got released because Bruce couldn't move his body essentially anymore. After failsafe. Oh, I was saying Zur got released because Bruce couldn't move his body.
Oh no, sorry. You
failsafe.
didn't get cut off. I said and his arm got cut off.
Oh yeah, that was failsafe, right?
No, that was in the weird multiverse arc.
Oh fuck.
That was Red Mask that cut off his hand.
That was Red Mask. Yeah, because that happened before Gotham War. Because during Gotham War, the family discovered, or it was I think it was just Nightwing actually that discovered that it was his hand was cut off. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I agree with you in the fact that I do agree with you in the fact that this is like the best comic we got from Batman in a while. Even in this arc in general, I think I would say.
And you've liked this arc, I think, more than me. Not by much, but a little bit.
I think generally, yeah, I've rated this more comics higher than you have. But yeah, I'm still enjoying this. I'm still enjoying Batman, you know, thankfully. And, you know, I gave this one an 8.
I also gave this one an 8. And that would lead us into the final issue of the episode, and that would be Titans Beast World Tour Atlantis #1. So this is as with a lot of these other Beast World tie-ins, it's written by it's 3 creative teams. One is Sina Grace and Riccardo Federici. The second one is Frank Thierry and Valentine Delandro, and the third is Megan Fitzmartin and Maria Laura Sanapo. I'm curious, which one did you think was the best?
I kind of thought they were just like all pretty mid in my
I think
opinion.
it's between the first two.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm trying to think. Okay, the first one was Aquaman getting infected. The second one, the second one I will say I didn't like as much.
So I'm actually curious. I'm gonna look this up really quickly because that directly continues the story from Waller Rising.
Yes.
Where a couple of those guys who were on that team, particularly Vixen and Deadeye, and then also Captain Boomerang this year, they show up and they are trying to turn back Black Manta back into so Black Manta has been turned into a giant manta ray, and they're trying to turn him back to just normal Black Manta. And so it turns out that actually Captain Boomerang was sent by Waller to stop them from turning him back into normal Black Manta, because Waller wants to kill all the superheroes or something.
It's getting so convoluted at this point. I seriously just don't understand Waller. I am so lost on what
we've said about this a lot. I kind of get her motivations, but I understand how they can seem contradictory. Because it does seem like they are kind of conflicting interests. But so there's that one, which I think was not bad actually. I didn't mind that one. The other two are essentially the same story, just with different main characters, because they are both the protege of one of the leaders of Atlantis is being reckless, and they're going off and doing some stuff. And then the leader of Atlantis comes back and they're like, "No, you can't do that. Don't do that. Here, let me help you, and I'll try and get you out of the situation and try and talk some sense into you." And then a spore gets in the leader of Atlantis, and the first one is Aquaman, and the second one is Mera. And then they just turn into beasts, and then it ends with them being like, we have to figure out a way to turn them back. And that's the same thing for both of them. And when I realized that, I was like, well, shit, that's kind of dumb. And I think the first one has better art, and I think the second one is slightly worse writing. I think they're about the same level of quality in writing, but the first one has way better art, I think. So that's what I think ultimately I like the first one more.
Yeah.
I may like the second story the most of the three, just because it's something different. The art is very unique and stylized. I don't know that I love it, but it's interesting. But yeah, I don't know. These are all fine, I think, ultimately.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit lost, right? Because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, and I probably am, because, I don't remember a lot. I get this shit wrong all the time. But wasn't Garth under Brother Blood?
Eternity.
Oh, God, yeah, Eternity.
Yeah.
And
yes.
So, right. So that was, during, obviously, even beforehand, all this, Beast War stuff. And then, so how is he all of a sudden in Atlantis when he should be in the Titan's Tower, right?
So, okay, to your point there, there is a caption box that says this takes place before Titan's Beast World 3.
Okay, well, so that answers that one. But then besides that, he's still... So I thought he was being mind controlled by Eternity.
He is, but I think it's kind of I don't think it's 100% like comprehensive, right? I think it's a situation of Brother Eternity has kind of mind controlled him, like generally kind of, instilling the beliefs that Brother Eternity himself has, but has allowed him some semblance of free will outside of that. That has not been explained. I don't know if that's correct, but that is my interpretation of that, because I think that's the only way that kind of makes sense.
Okay, yeah, see, because it still doesn't make sense to me, because even in Titans, it was Garth himself that infected a fucking Wally's wife.
Yeah, so I think it's a situation, right? I think it's a situation of Brother Eternity essentially being like, "Hey, spread this to everybody, and follow my religion and my orders and everything. But outside of that, you can kind of be your own person."
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's not making sense to me too much there, but yeah, I'll just take your word for it there. But
listen, I could be wrong. But that's that makes more sense than any other explanation I've heard. So I don't know. That's what I'm going with.
All right, because even God, I could really just go down this rabbit hole right now, but I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think out of the three, I think I'm gonna say I like the first one the most.
Either way, I think they're all fine. I gave it a 6 overall. I initially had it at a 7, but yeah.
You lowered yours. I am keeping mine at a 6.
Okay, well, yeah, that wraps it up for this episode. Next episode, it's a big one. Next episode, I've read a handful of these already. I won't talk about any of them, but yeah, we've got a new writer on Action Comics. I am going to be checking out Action Comics this time. New issue of Avengers. We'll see. Blade is coming out this next week. I have been liking Blade as of late. We've also got the finale of The Madness. I don't think I'm going to get up to date in time for that, but we'll see. Also, new issue of Green Lantern. Looking forward to that. I think that serves them quite good. Then the quadruple whammy. We have The Sacrificers, we have Titans Beast World #4, we have Transformers #4, and we have Ultimate Spider-Man #1. Those are all huge, and I'll be excited to talk about those ones in the next episode. So I think that's anything else you want to shout out there? I know what you're gonna say. God damn it, yeah. Anyway, that'll wrap it up for this week. Thank you everybody for listening as always. If you would like to if you like the episode, you can like the video on YouTube if you are on YouTube, and you can also subscribe to the channel, and you can also hit the bell notification if you would like to be notified when we post new videos. If you would like to let us know what you've been thinking about the current state of comics, or any comics in particular, you can let us know in the comments section. And then if you're on Spotify, you can email us at earthsmightiestcomicspod@gmail.com. That is all one word with no apostrophe in the word Earth. That is our email address there. You can let us know what you think about the comics coming out over there as well. And then if you're also on Spotify, you can also you can follow the show over there, and that's the way to make sure that you don't miss a new episode over there. So thank you again, everybody, for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Adios.